guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, Florida. And guess what? I have that one vehicle that's such an iconic name that's going away after this model year. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2023 Nissan Maxima. But before we get into what Nissan calls, not me, but what Nissan calls a four-door sports car, let's talk about what's going on here. It was the early 1980s when the Datsun Maxima came into existence. Back then, it really did set a watermark for the competition, and it was an interesting play on what a four-door sports car would be. Over the generations, it changed in size, it changed in what was available technology-wise, but Nissan says that they have stuck to their guns when it comes to the driving experience. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is the end of the road for the Maxima, but it's still here for model year 2023. So what I want to find out is, should you go Nissan Maxima, or should you go with one of those newer players, one of those newer kids on the block, the Genesis G70 sedan? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our black on black Nissan Maxima and find out. Right off the bat, the last design, I'm a little still torn on the style, but with it all blacked out, it does hide some of the more confusing body lines. At the front of the business, you'll notice they did a very angular shape with the headlights, and you are going to get full LED headlights, turn signals, and daytime running lamps, which is nice. On the lower end, you do have a place for an LED fog lamp on each side. I just wish they didn't do these fake vents. So even though I like the way they did the fog lamp, I am going to do a half a zonk on the fake vents, because that's like half of this area. But you can see this is the styling, this is the direction that Nissan was going in a few years ago, that they went with the Altima, the Sentra, and even the Versa. Now, as we come across that V-Motion grille, what I like about this particular Maxima is how it's all blacked out. So you have your gloss black V-Motion shape there, the updated Nissan badge, full functionality up top, full functionality down low. And when you compare it to the Genesis G70, the G70 has this ginormous grille. There's something a little bit endearing, a little bit of old school, if you will, with the smaller grille design. Let me know what you feel about how you feel about the front of this Maxima compared to the G70. Now, as we rise up, you have a very low slung nose, and then guess what? They surprise you with a bulge. So you get a little bit of a power bulge on that hood. And then coming around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup? Well, you are getting black wheels, because we already mentioned that. Black on black, multi-spoke, gloss black wheel. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of this wheel? You're looking at a 19-inch wheel, all four corners. I think with it being black, it kind of just blends in very seamless. Let me know how you feel about the wheels. Now, the big difference is going to be the G70 is a rear-wheel drive sedan. This has always been, and still to this day, is front-wheel drive. It would have been awesome if they would have bumped up horsepower in this thing and made it all-wheel drive. Then you have something really unique and special, but this is front-wheel drive. Now, as we go down the side, you'll notice that very unique body style I was telling you about with the lines. The black kind of just blends everything in. You do get these ginormous old school style LED turn signals, not my favorite. 360-degree camera. Wish they would have blacked out the bright shiny metalwork. That would have just really made it a lot cleaner. But from the side, it's not too shabby. You do have a panoramic glass roof, which is great. That's something that a lot of people like to see on this type of vehicle. And then working towards the rear, this was one of the first Nissans to have that floating roof design. So you have the gloss black here separating the painted from the painted. So if this was white, this would still be gloss black, just to give you an idea. But this bright, shiny metalwork kind of kills it for me. Now, as we work towards the rear, they did a very angular job, just like on the headlights. Same story on the taillights, and everything is LED. No light bulbs in there. Fairly large trunklet spoiler. This being the SR trim, you got the updated Nissan badge, the Maxima name, and then going all the way down, what's kind of cool is that you get this quad tip exhaust. Now, the problem is that only one of the tips is functional. The other one is blocked off on both sides. So to me, that's a little bit of a zonk. But what's the bigger zonk is this. That fake vent, whatever the hell that's supposed to be, not digging it. But from the back, like I said, with that trunk-lid spoiler, it does give it some style there. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood, talk horsepower about this Maxima. All right, guys, hood's popped. You do have hood struts. Underneath the hood, the big differentiator between this and the Genesis is that, guess what? Besides it being front-wheel drive and the Genesis being rear-wheel drive, this is a naturally aspirated V6, whereas the Genesis G70 can be optioned at this price point with a twin turbocharged V6. So what do we have? We have a 3.5 liter V6 putting out 300 horsepower, 261 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT. That really is the sad part in all this. The Genesis G70 has an 8-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 though, 5.7 seconds. Top speed is governed to 135 miles per hour. Quarter mile in 14.2 seconds at 102 miles per hour. MPG's 20 in the city, 30 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs 3,665 pounds. So like I was saying, it's sort of like a case of what might have been. To bump this engine up to 450 horsepower and have all-wheel drive, I think that would have been the ticket for this vehicle, and a redesign, of course. But let's go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what kind of sound it makes. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Nissan Maxima SR trim, the last of its kind. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I forgot about the Maxima. I already thought they killed it off. I'm willing to give it a whirl at the right price. What is the price? MSRP for this particular one is right at $45,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I like the orange contrast stitching, the soft material. I even like the way they went with that gunmetal gray finish. Something other than just gloss black, which I'm happy to say is there on the door panel. Now, there is some gloss black, but it's not too bad. Armrests, nice soft leather style material, the orange contrast stitching. Door pocket is mission impossible. You could maybe fit 4 Pop-Tarts, that's it, and a glass of milk to wash it down. Going from the door panel to the dash, love the way they brought the orange stitching into the dash. There's more of that diamond style material. That's the gunmetal gray finish like on the door panel. And then you slide on in, you get a little bit of old school. We have an actual CD player. So if you have your Pearl Jam, your Tag Team, whatever CDs you have from the past, Bon Jovi, Whitesnake, you can put them right there in your CD player. 8-inch touchscreen. Is it the newest? No, but it is an actual touchscreen. A lot of brands still aren't doing touchscreens. You do get the touchscreen. Throw it in reverse. Backup camera is the older resolution, so it's very grainy. You do have trajectory and you do have 360, but like I said, very, very grainy. And we do have, of course, out the front, our forward-facing camera, which is a nice touch, but still grainy. Dual climate control, easy to operate. Working your way down, you have your start-stop button. Some gloss black. We're going to open up door number 1. That gives us some felt lining and a place to put your family jewels. You have a USB-C, USB-A, and an aux jack. Close that. This is going to control our CVT transmission. I do like the use of the orange stitching, even on the sides here. Very nice touch. You have the Noah's Ark Edition key fob with remote start. They're getting rid of these. They may be worth something on eBay one of these days. Direct drive control knob for your infotainment system. We do have ventilated seats and heated seats. And then you do have soft material on the armrest with the stitching. Open it up, felt lining, a 12 volt, a place for some tokens for when you go to the video game arcade. And you could easily put, I would say, 28 packages of Garbage Pail Kids. Atom Bomb, Ray Gun, all of the favorites right in there. That's another thing you might be able to sell. Dig all these things up, and then you could sell them and go get yourself a Porsche 911 GT3. Seats, the leather, the orange stitching, nice bolstering. You do have Alcantara style material that Steven's going to show you right here. Nice diamond stitching. Very nice touch. Steven really liked that material. You do have electric assist for the passenger. Of course, electric assist for the driver, which is great. And then you have that split setup on the panoramic sunroof. So that's nice the way they do that. Very fast reacting shades. But why don't you get your butt over here? I got a flat bottom steering wheel and Alcantara that Steven loves. Come on over here, I want to show it to you. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. You got the Maxima silver sill plate, and we do have aluminum brake pedal and throttle. The problem is, I wish I had an aluminum dead pedal. You got the Maxima name on the floor mat, that's worth an extra 5 horsepower right there. And then of course you got your easy to reach controls. I like the room that's in here. There's definitely more room in the front seat. We'll find out about the back seat compared to the G70. Steering wheel, flat bottom, Steven's favorite Alcantara with the orange stitching. And I like the way everything is flat black on the buttons. Paddle, the paddles on this are like freaking yachts. So you have these yacht style paddles to go up and down the simulated gears in the CVT. You do have a heated steering wheel, and you have, of course, your instrumentation right there in the center. Look at our gauges, power gauge, temperatures, everything full color in the center. And then you have an analog speedometer, tach, coolant gauge, and fuel gauge. The one zonk is there's no head-up display in here. So that to me is a little bit of a zonk. But let's get in the back seat and see how it stacks up to the G70. All right, guys, back seat time, and this is where the Maxima lays the smack down on the G70. Tons of room in here. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall, not even close to the headliner. Steven was chilling like a villain in the front seat. I didn't even move the seat, and I still got plenty of room. And trust me, a regular passenger, unlike Steven, would have the seat much more forward, which would give you even more space. You do have pockets on both sides. You could put a travel size Monopoly game back here, maybe Battleship. And then you do have 2 AC vents, USB-C, USB-A. I love how comfy the seats are. You get the same material as up front, and then you do get a nice size armrest, 2 cup holders, and a Twizzler holder in the center. Flip it back. Why don't we go ahead and get in the trunk, because I want to go on throttle in this Maxima. All right guys, trunk space, hit the button, lift it up. You're going to be greeted to over 16 cubic feet of space. The seat does fold down, which is nice. It does the 60-40 split by pulling these little tethers. You also have these very smartly engineered hooks for your bags of groceries. You even have a nice little party tray back here. This is all in the back of the Nissan Maxima, plus a cargo net. So they really have the trunk space, very versatile, and it is more trunk space than the Genesis G70. Let's look under here to see if you get a spare. I think you do. Yes, you do. So that's another nice touch. You do get a spare as well. But why don't we go ahead? They call it a 4-door sports car. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle and see if it drives like one. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Nissan Maxima. On throttle, here we go. So you are getting simulated shifts from the CVT transmission. That's gonna help keep the revs down and not get that loud drone. I like the way it lets you know that you have your blind spot monitoring on the interior of the vehicle rather than in the glass. That's another nice touch. You have, of course, your Bose sound system. Steering wheel in this vehicle is really fantastic. I like the way the steering wheel feels in my hands with the Alcantara and the leather. And then getting to the infotainment system or to put your CDs into the CD player is well within reach. The only thing really missing on the interior is going to be, of course, that wireless charging. There's no wireless charging in this Maxima SR. Seats are superb. I love the seats, the fact that they're ventilated and heated, and they're ultra comfy. But they're supportive as well, which is great. You have the massive paddles behind the wheel to go up and down the simulated gears. And visibility in this vehicle is really outstanding as well. Hey guys, I want to see how this Maxima handles. I'm actually going to put it into manual shift modes, use the paddles through the simulated gears. It's got a gear indicator at the bottom there. Second gear, on throttle, here we go. That linear power delivery pulls all the way to redline, which is great. Redline is 6,500 RPM, and as you can see, holds a line very, very well. There is no body roll in this vehicle. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as dynamic in handling as compared to a rear-wheel drive vehicle like the G70, But this thing is gonna surprise you with just how well it handles. Smooth torque delivery, and the paddles are ginormous to where you're never gonna miss a shift. I do like the sound as well of that naturally aspirated V6. It's got a nice tone to it. It just would be nice if there's a little bit more power. At least if you're gonna keep it front-wheel drive, I like to see 350 horsepower. But having the different information to scroll through is really nice on that color digital display. And then, like I said, everything else is well laid out in here, and the materials feel really superb. I'm gonna come to a dead stop, use the paddles, we're in first gear. On throttle, here we go. Pulls nice. It's just the CVT is holding this vehicle back. I mean, if it would get the 9-speed automatic from the Nissan Z and have more horsepower, this would be a pretty formidable opponent in this larger sedan segment. But like I said, the handling is actually quite surprising for the type of vehicle that it is. And the V6 sound, I think, is very pleasant to the ears, even more so than how the G70 sounds, to be honest with you. Brakes feel good, visibility's nice. On throttle, here we go. All the way out to that 6,500 red line. Into this right-hand bend, holds a line very nicely. Very, very composed. So, interesting setup in this Maxima, especially compared to what else is available today. But let me know what you think. Are you liking still what the Nissan brings to the table, or are you gonna go G70? We're gonna get back to Nissan, Moss Nissan, and wrap this up, so I'll see you in a split second. Been another great day, a hot one out here, but another good one at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, Florida. Definitely want to thank Christian and the rest of the crew getting us access to one of their very last, this is it, 2023 Nissan Maxima SR trim. Let me know what you think. Are you going to go Genesis G70, or are you going to go with the Maxima before they're all gone? Let me know your vote down in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Radius Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up Stephen Flood Photography. Follow him on Instagram. He likes to take pictures of things. Give him a like or two. He's trying to get those as well. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.